In the frozen heart of Antarctica, 28 men found themselves trapped inside a ship, surrounded by miles of solid ice. For months, they hadn't moved an inch. Then one night, the ship groaned and tilted, crushed by the ice itself. This is the true story of the Endurance, and the men who refused to die. In 1914, explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton set out to cross Antarctica, something no human had ever done. His ship was called Endurance, built strong enough, he thought, to survive anything. Before leaving England, he placed a newspaper ad that read, "Men wanted for hazardous journey. Bitter cold. Long months of darkness. Safe return doubtful." And somehow, people came. They sailed south with 27 men and 50 sled dogs, ready to face the unknown. But just one day before reaching land, disaster struck. On January 18, 1915, the ocean froze solid around them. The ice trapped the Endurance, holding it like a vice. At first, they waited, hoping it would melt. Weeks passed. Then months. They played soccer on the ice, joked, and pretended to stay calm. But the ice never released them. By winter, the pressure became unbearable. One night, the hull snapped. Wood cracked like gunfire. Water flooded in. On October 27, Shackleton gave the order no sailor ever wants to hear: abandon ship. The men hauled food, tents, and 3 lifeboats onto the ice, watching helplessly as Endurance sank beneath them. Now, they were alone, floating on a sea of frozen death. They marched across the shifting ice for months, dragging their boats and supplies. They hunted penguins and seals to stay alive. When food ran out, they had to kill their sled dogs. Every step was agony, every night colder than the last. Finally, after nearly 16 months adrift, they reached a place called Elephant Island. For the first time, they stood on solid ground. But no ship would ever come there. So Shackleton did the impossible. He took 5 men, climbed into a lifeboat, and sailed 800 miles across the most dangerous sea on Earth, using only the stars to guide them. Waves towered above their tiny boat. The cold burned their skin raw. For 16 endless days, they fought through storm after storm, until they reached South Georgia Island. But they landed on the wrong side. To reach help, they had to climb 4,000-foot mountains, without maps, ropes, or rest. 36 hours later, frozen and exhausted, Shackleton stumbled into a whaling station. He'd made it. And he wasn't done. He immediately launched rescue attempts for the 22 men still stranded on Elephant Island. After 4 failed tries, on August 30, 1916, 2 years after they'd set sail, he finally saw smoke rising from the island. His men had lit a fire, they were alive. Against all odds, every single one of them survived. They never crossed Antarctica. But their will to live, trapped for 2 years in a world of ice, wind, and darkness, became one of the greatest survival stories ever told. In 2022, over a century later, explorers found the wreck of the Endurance, perfectly preserved beneath 3 kilometers of Antarctic ice. Her name still visible. A frozen monument to the men who refused to give up.